So, you don't have large tracts of what? You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. You don't have large tracts of land. You know, I have 22 acres. I lease a piece next to me that's 85 acres. It's mostly the, sizes. You have some big 300, acre parcels here and there. So what happens, like our experience is, and it's just not me, it's everyone, because I'm a big hunter. I mean, I go all over the country and hunt. I hunt in Kansas, Minnesota, Kentucky. I mean, so I'm all about hunting. But what happens here is that, these guys might have permission on 10 acres or on 5 acres. And then what they do is try to hunt it with, you know, uh, 6 or 7 dogs. Well, I mean, a dog can go through 50 acres in a second. And,
There's no doubt about that. So where is it
right,
that you're hunting at? I just got off interview with some people from Alabama. So where are you?
Virginia.
You're in
We're,
Virginia.
yeah, we're in Virginia. We're on the eastern part of Virginia, like right close to the Rappahannock. We're probably about an hour south of DC, but
About
it's
an hour
rural.
south. See, what county
Uh,
is that?
it's King George County.
King George County. Okay.
Yes, sir. But for an example, like the one of the counties below us, Essex. This was a long time ago, but it was actually on one of the hunting shows on TV, and they were doing a documentary like on hunting with dogs. So it's big in the it's always been big in the area. But back to what I was saying is, you get these, um, and it's not all hound hunters or all dog hunters, but they'll let all these dogs go. And look, I can every year this it's the same thing happens. This guy comes to the edge of the property of my neighbor's property, which is kind of to the left of mine. It's the same guy every year. I can tell by his voice. He lets the dogs go right at the edge. And we've got between me and what I lease and what he owns and what I own, we've got like 200 acres. And then they release them so that they run all the way through.
So I got a question. The guys that are hunting
Sure.
next to you, are they an established hunting club?
Well, I have my suspicions of like which hunting club it is. You
You ever
know,
gone and talked to them?
well, they had pulled into the driveway. And this is another big complaint in King George where people get, you know, uh, they'll call the sheriff's department or whatever, but they'll pull in your driveway trying to cut off their dogs. Without, I mean, and I had a run in with them one time like that, and they said, "Oh, well, we're pulling here."
I'm not talking about a run in. I'm talking about if you just tried talking to them.
Well, that's where I'm getting at is that
Okay, go ahead.
yeah. So they would and when they pulled in, I was like, what are you guys doing? We're trying to cut off the dogs. And I said, well, I mean, it's private property. You can't just pull up in here into the driveway and stuff, um, and then I think some of them rely a lot on that you don't know the law and stuff, and I said, well, look, I know that in Virginia, you can walk onto somebody else's property as long as you don't have a firearm to look for your dogs, but you can't pull into people's property or just whatever. And I'm pretty open about things, and um, the one I had a discussion with one of the guys in the group, and I told him, I said, man, look, if y'all are going to run dogs, I mean, why don't you at least give us a heads up, and then or come get me. And the one guy, one time he did come get me, and him and I went behind my house where they were running dogs, and he set up and I set up, so I'm not against it, but they don't want to do that, they just want to run it. And so it's not. And I had tried to have a conversation at you know up at the driveway when my neighbor and I had to run in with them. And um
Dickie, you
you
just
know
froze. You just
what's
froze.
that?
You're back now. You froze for a
uh,
minute, but you're back now.
okay. And honestly, they just kind of had an attitude, so I said,
You
okay,
freezing.
well, if you're gonna, what's that?
You keep freezing. I'm sorry. I don't know whether it's my
That's
end
all
or
right.
your end.
But
Go back
they
to
kind
where
of had.
you talked to the guy and he had a little bit of an attitude and I didn't get anything else.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I said, well, I mean, if you're gonna act like that, so I took a picture of the of his license plate, and of course, as soon as I did that, they jump in the truck and want to leave, and I had the plate run, and he had a bogus license plate on there. It wasn't even his license plate. So that's just. And look, I know
How'd you
all
have the
hunt.
plate run?
What's that?
How did you have the plate run?
I had a friend.
It's illegal.
That. Yeah, I know it's illegal, but I
Okay.
mean, yeah, I mean, I really didn't have the plate run. I just, I said, hey, look, what do you know about this? Well, it doesn't for the truck, but the point of of the conversation is that I feel like too that they should if they it goes both ways. I mean, if they were to approach us and say, hey, look, man, we want to drop our dogs over here because we have a piece, and they might come through your property. Okay, I mean that's reasonable, but that's not how it works around here, and that's not how it works around a lot of these counties around here. Unfortunately, in Virginia, because they know how the law works in Virginia. Virginia is the only state in the United States where you can legally trespass to look for your dog.
No, it's not. There's a couple other states that
There's a
have
couple
right
other
to
states.
retrieve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the few then, where you can legally trespass as long as you don't have a firearm, or a bow or a weapon or whatever, And a lot of these guys will take advantage of that. They'll do man drives through there, and then if you say something, oh, well, I'm just looking for my dog, So,
You saying they'll do a man drive through the property
well, what I'm
and
saying is,
say
yeah,
they're practicing right to retrieve?
right, exactly.
That's bull.
They'll have two guys walk through, you know what I mean, and say, "Oh, well, we're looking for our dogs." Well, so it's in here's my biggest thing is that I read the stuff that you guys post and stuff like that, but you know you have anti-hunters, like true anti-hunters who just hate any kind of hunt. You know, they're going to be against everybody that hunts, no matter what. But I think that, and I've tried because a lot of guys that I work with and a lot of friends that I have, they run dogs, you know? So I know them and I'm like, look, I'm telling you, you guys are going to lose this privilege to run dogs unless you change a couple things. You have to, you have to be respectful to people that are adjacent to where you're running dogs at. It's not like back in the day where you had a 2,000 acre piece and you could run it and okay, a dog went on somebody else's property and they're okay, no problem. Yeah, come get it. It's different than that now. And the biggest problem is then you got these guys on here who go, oh, well, dogs can't read posted signs. Yeah, well, I mean, that's to me, that's just an
I
insult,
can read.
Right.
I
I'm
can
just
read.
saying, I mean, look, but here's what's happening, is that, and I've told these guys, my buddies, I said, look, man, you guys are going to lose that privilege because now what you're losing is hunters that may not necessarily want to run dogs, but are just, are, they're still hunters. And now you're pissing them off. And, you can't just go to those people and go, oh, well, they can't read. Sorry, man. They can't read posted signs or, that's bullshit. So, and if the deer hunting or if the hunting with hounds or hunting with dogs is going to last in Virginia, this comes up every single year. Every single year there's a vote on this stuff. Every single year. And eventually it's going to pass unless those issues are addressed. So that's, when I make comments kind of on your website or your Facebook page and stuff like that, it's really more, I'm like, come on, man, you guys, you got to change your tact. Not so much you, but I'm just saying people I hear
I
comment
was
on
going
there.
to
I'm
tell
like,
you, my tactics are respect your neighbor.
right.
If you turn your dog out and it accidentally gets on your neighbor's property once or twice a year, that's an accident. You and your neighbor should probably be able to work that out.
Absolutely.
If it happens every time you turn your dog out,
Yeah.
that's a bad habit, and
Right.
you shouldn't be doing that.
Right. And that's
That's wrong. I'll tell you that's wrong. So,
yeah,
and
but
what you just told me, I've never had anybody tell me that people were actually using the right to retrieve as an option, an opportunity to do a man drive.
oh
I've
yeah.
never heard of that before.
Yeah.
That's news
Well,
to me. I
yeah,
would
I
like
mean,
to know the people that you're saying are causing you the problems. Are they a hunting club? Do they have property in that area, and how big is that property? You told me your
well,
property, your neighbor's property is about 200 acres. What about them?
yeah, well, so what they typically, so back in the day, they probably used to have large tracts, a lot of land. Well, what's happened over the years is that they've lost it. Whether it gets sold, it gets divided. So now they have a bunch of little pieces here and there. They might have 10 acres here, 15 acres here, 20 acres here, and then they got a couple probably big pieces. And my neighbor who lives down the road from me here, him and I talk all the time, and he has the same exact problem, and he confronts them all the time, and like, and that's kind of my point too, is that look, I know that all the hound hunters aren't disrespectful like that, but what I think that hound hunters should be going after is not the people that are complaining about trespassing on the private land. Don't go after them people. Go after the ones in your own group that are abusing the privilege. Those are the ones that are going to ruin it for you. Those are the
Can you
ones.
point them out to me?
What's
You
that?
got people there near you that you're complaining about. Can you point them out to me? Can you tell me
Well,
who
I mean,
they
I
are?
can't really point. I mean, I can't tell you exactly who they are. I mean, I have my suspicions, but then if I say, well, I think it's these people, then it's an
Well, no, don't
accusation.
speculate. Don't
Yeah,
speculate on it. Me
yeah,
personally,
yeah,
I've talked to people that said they've had all kinds of problems like this.
yeah,
Trail cameras are cheap, man.
yeah,
You can get them that'll send the thing right to your cell phone. And if you're close by the property, if it's a property you live near, you don't even need cell phone. You can get it to send it to your Wi-Fi.
yeah, yeah. No,
Body
I mean,
worn cameras, $49.99. You can hang it right around your neck, stick it in your pocket.
no,
Camera don't lie, man. I mean, it don't.
no, no. Well, and we talked to the sheriff's department about it, and what they said basically is that look, you need to put at the end of your driveway. We had a long driveway. It's probably, I don't know, 1,000 feet, 1,200 feet long. He said, at the end of the driveway, put a posted sign, private property. He goes, if they keep pulling in your driveway like that without your permission, he said, if you don't have a sign, you can't do anything. He said, if you have a sign or a camera or something like that, he said, then we can go talk to him and do something about it. So we've tried to, do proactive stuff like that. And, I've even talked, this is crazy to me though. Like I've talked to the game warden before and I'm like, okay, well, what if these dogs are running through or whatever, what if they get into my chickens or if they get into somebody's cattle and stuff like that, can we grab them? Oh no, you can't touch them. You got to call us. So it's
What
almost
game
like
warden told you that?
one of the ones in Virginia.
Now you're gonna find me if you tell me that somebody told you something.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start asking that follow-up question: who did it?
yeah.
So
Look,
if a game warden told you that, I want to be able to assign their name to it, and then
yeah.
I want to be able to do a little research on that person and see if they're giving out bad information to other people.
The only
You
thing
know
I
who
can
can
tell
give
you,
legal advice in Virginia?
who's that?
An attorney licensed in Virginia.
Yeah. Well,
So
this
anyway,
was
go ahead and tell me what this person told you.
this was a couple years ago, and it was a fee. And it was on the phone. It was a fee. I just called because this was like happening a lot, and I'm like, and it was a female. That's all I can tell you. It's been a long time, a couple of years. I can't remember. I can't remember what I did last week. So
I can't remember what I did last minute.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah, I get
So
you.
yeah, and she was like, "Oh, so you can't touch the dogs." I'm like, "Well, I'm not talking about hurting them. I'm talking about just grabbing them and keep them, or what am I supposed to do, And Virginia is an interesting state because it's
Virginia's not a state; it's a commonwealth.
right. It is a commonwealth, but it's interesting because it's almost like all the laws. And like I said, man, I am not anti-dog. Like I said, I've hunted. I can show you pictures. I got one on my wall right here. I can show you pictures where we've hunted with dogs. But it's like everything protects, the hunter, not necessarily just the hunter, but and the dogs. And that's the big thing in Virginia. That's what everyone is upset about is that is the trespassing. And you've seen my posts. I keep reiterating that. I'm like, look, until you address the trespassing, it's not going to go away. And it's not an anti-dog issue. It's not an anti-hunting issue. It's a trespassing issue. And that's the biggest thing. And that's it's a shame because people are missing that. And what's going to happen? Like I said, they're going to miss it, and then it's going to eventually get changed. I mean, honestly, I really thought that bill this year was going to pass. I mean, because I thought that it had. I mean, I didn't think it was an unfair written bill because I read it and I thought, well. I don't, the fee or having to get a permit, well, that's probably a money grab. But, the fact that they said, okay, well, if the dogs are trespassing and you don't have written permission on somebody's land, I mean, at least there's some teeth. Now it's like they can, now they can do pretty much whatever they want and just.
It's against the law to intentionally turn them loose on your property, right?
Right. I mean, you can't.
Is your property posted?
Oh, yeah. I post it
It's,
every year.
it's
Yeah, I
properly
post.
posted.
Oh yeah, I posted
You
with
got your
yeah.
driveway posted like they
Oh
said.
yeah, I post the road. I post the whole. Me and my neighbor walk and post the whole thing all the way around. So, and look, this is what happens every year. This is kind of funny to me. But have you hunted with dogs before? I'm assuming you have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So same guy,
I've
he'll
hunted with
come.
dogs. I've climbed a tree. I've done it all.
Right. This guy comes to the edge of the property. Okay. Every year. It's usually on Christmas or Thanksgiving, right? Because he knows that people are going to be, they're not going to be out in the woods. I hear the dogs. He lets them go, right? This has happened, I mean, multiple times. Me and my son will go back there just to the edge in the backyard edge of my woods. I shoot my shotgun twice. Dogs come right to me. I holler to the guy, hey, call your dogs. He calls the dogs, thinking that I've shot a deer behind his dogs and he's praising them. And then the dogs go back over to him. But they don't run through my property. And that's in the exact same scenario has happened at least 3 times back there.
Now I
And
want to make sure I'm understanding. You said you went to the edge of your property and the dogs were on the other property.
no, so what he does is he comes in from the left side and he'll come right to the edge of my neighbor's property. And
It comes to
look,
your neighbor's property.
right, and look, this is only by me where I can hear him hollering at his dogs because I know my neighbor's property where it ends at. And he sounds like he's in that area. This guy does. Same guy every year. And then, and then here come the dogs, two dogs or 3 dogs he's let go. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll set guys up all the way at the other end of the property. So
But
that when the dog,
my
yeah,
question about that is it their property?
no, it's
Do they?
not.
Okay, whose is it?
So the piece that they're standing on is their property or they have
Okay.
permission, but it might be 10 acres. But what they do is come to the edge of it and then let the dogs go. And then they go through on
You,
to try to run our pieces all the way through.
are you
Like I said,
sure it's only 10 acres? That's one question. I'm a stickler for specifics.
I
Are you
understand.
sure it's only 10 acres?
So I looked it up on Onyx Hunt and on the
Okay.
GIS. And there's, what it looks like to me, there's about a 12-acre piece. And then there's a 40-acre piece. The 40-acre piece, I know the guy who owns the 40-acre piece, and he's not allowing them to hunt. So that piece right there that comes up next to my neighbor's is a 12-acre piece, and
Okay.
it borders the road and borders my neighbor's property, and that's about where it sounds like that he stands at. Then he lets the dogs go. Like I said, and this has happened multiple times. It's almost comical, and I shoot the gun because I know that dogs will come to the sound of a gun because they think that you've killed a deer. And it ends the chase, and then he calls them back, or I'll holler at him, call your dogs, and he does. He calls them, and they go right back to him, and then he goes on. So it's just stuff like that. Like I said, it'd be one thing. I even seen a guy post on one of your, posts was like, look, man, if you came up to the house and you said, hey, man, we're gonna let these dogs go over here. You might want to get in the woods and stuff. The guy on your post was like, he was like, yeah, I'd probably be like, no problem, man. It's all good. So it's really just. It's mutual respect is really what it is. That's the biggest thing right now,
Well,
in my opinion.
I found that a lot of disputes happen around somebody that actually has a little bit of acreage,
Yeah,
and then somebody that has a small piece.
yeah,
And it could
yeah,
be either way. It could be the people turning the dogs loose on the small piece, or it could be a guy sitting on, 5 acres next to a 10,000 acre hunting club.
yeah.
And
Well,
that's usually where I see my conflicts at. I mean, it really is.
yeah. Oh no, I believe that. And then it's also we hear, well, I've been hunting this land for 50 years. Yeah. Well, you know what? You're not paying the taxes on it anymore. So that in Virginia in any state, that's not a law that you've been hunting it for 50 years. I mean, I'm
That's
sorry
right.
that. Yeah, but people, and I think that's what we see more. And I saw your post where you put in the number of complaints, and in Virginia, it's funny because the majority of the complaints are along the East Coast where I live at, where the counties are at, and that's
Yeah.
where it's slowly getting divided. And you might have, big pieces, big parcels, and then somebody, comes in and buys 20 acres or 50 acres. Well, they act like that those people don't even live there, and that's where people are getting upset, and that's why this keeps coming up in Virginia. This law, people are trying to get some teeth for the trespassing, because it's just like, and I just wish that hound hunters too, would just, the comments kill them, man. Like I said, the dog can't read posted signs. Well, that's, man, to me, that's the worst thing you can say. That
Well, you
doesn't
got to
help your,
also understand something else.
yeah,
Everything that you see in the comment section
yeah,
isn't necessarily a hound hunter, isn't a still hunter, isn't an anti-hunter. It isn't
yeah,
even necessarily a real person. The
yeah.
comment section on my page is full of bots.
Yeah,
If
I
you go
saw
look
that.
at
I
their
saw you
page,
said you got
they
rid of a
got
digital.
nothing.
I saw you said you got rid of a digital
Yeah,
comment, and I didn't understand what that was, but that's like a bot.
it's full of bots, man. I mean, it really is.
I
If
didn't
you
know
look
that.
at some of these profiles, click on their picture and look at it. They'll
Uh-huh.
have like, I don't know, one post, one
Really
profile picture, one background picture. That's it. I mean, they're just,
interesting. Yeah, that whole technology is kind of scary, really.
yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Why they want to do it's my question. But I don't know anybody.
Hmm.
I don't know anybody, me
Yeah,
personally, that wants to run their dogs on somebody else's property.
right.
So what you're describing to me is an absolutely foreign idea to me.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know where you hunt at either, but it's I can tell you around here it's commonplace, man, and that's what the big stink in Virginia is about. And that's and like I said, you know, most of the guys around here have hunted with dogs, and they're not anti-dog, but and that's what really it's a little disturbing too that that's how that gets painted like that is that like, oh well, you know, this bill is an anti-dog bill. No, it's not an anti-dog bill. It's an anti-trespassing bill is what it is. But you know how it is. You muddy the water and then you can get some people to believe it because they can't think for themselves. So that's the issue I have. And I'm like, you know, look, it's a great tradition in Virginia, and it's fun doing it. And I love, you know, but you got to have the right setting. I mean, I've even like tried to propose. You know, I send stuff to the Virginia Department of Resources all the time, like with suggestions and feedback and commentary. And I'm like, okay, you know, make a thing that says you have to have a minimum of 200 acres to run dogs, you know, or make it the last 2 weeks of the season, or you know, put some type of you know, you got to have some type of regulation on it because it's changed. It's not like it was back in the day when you had these, you know, huge plantation tracts. Then it wasn't an issue. It's just like, you know, no one's addressing that part of it. So I don't, you know, that's at least that's in Virginia. I don't know about other states. Obviously, I've seen you know you're out you kind of deal with all the states, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So, but that in
I'm
Virginia,
gonna give
that's
you I'm
go
gonna give
ahead.
you some homework.
Okay.
I want you to go introduce yourself
Okay.
to your neighbor.
Okay. I know most of my neighbors, but yeah.
And I'm talking about your neighbor that you have conflict with.
Okay.
I want you to tell me who it is.
Okay.
I want you to tell me how much land they're hunting.
Right.
And just get back with me later on it and tell
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Okay.
And I found that most problems
Hmm.
can be solved by sitting down, having a glass of tea, and maybe a piece of pie.
With
Most problems.
with most
If you're
people too.
dealing with reasonable people.
That correct.
But you got to have reasonable people on both sides of that equation.
Yeah.
The reason I invited you to talk to me is you seem reasonable.
Yeah.
You
I
do. You
figured that.
seem reasonable.
I told my wife that too, because I was telling her about this, and I said, "Look, I said what I'm posting isn't a bunch of crap. It's true, and it's
No,
not. It's true. It's just, and it's. But you know, The problem is the unreasonable people out there. That's what I'm afraid of. You know, that's what ruins it for the sport. Is those? It only takes a few just to mess it up, and I mean and it gives people a bad name, and it's just yeah. So you know, I think the social media thing is good because it gives people, if they're real people, it gives them a chance to communicate and you know, but you know, and to understand things. But it sometimes it doesn't always work out like that. But so in one you know in one of your posts you say that or your memes you know you put about reaching out to your neighbor. But do you also feel like that you know clubs that run hounds and stuff you know if they have a big piece and there's some adjacent don't they have an obligation also though to go to you know the neighbor and say hey look man Saturday we're having a big hunt you know the dogs might get on your property you know they're not obligated to invite them. I mean, it's probably the neighborly thing to do, but you know, hey, you can join us. I mean, I feel like that's also there's a certain amount of burden on the clubs to also reach out to adjacent landowners. You know.
I can speak for me.
Yeah.
I can speak for me. My microphone doesn't show up well in the thing. I can't tell. Let me put my headphones on because I can't tell if my audio is going out or not. There we go. I can speak for me.
Okay.
You said you're hunting what, 1 or 200 acres?
About 200 acres.
I'm hunting 10,000.
Yep.
Okay. And we own some of it and we do lease some of it.
Yeah.
But we're landowners.
Right.
Okay. And that land that we own is more than 200 acres.
Right.
So I can tell you from my experience. You ask, should the club go to the neighbors?
Yeah.
If you own land that borders our hunting club, we will give you a free membership in the hunting club.
Right.
So if you had that 200 acres and it was next to my hunting club,
yeah,
you give us permission to go on the property, we give you permission to go on our property.
Yeah, and that's
would you
fair.
trade $200? Would you trade 200 acres for 10,000 acres?
Sure, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. It is. Yeah.
I mean, really.
So look, I'll give you a quick example. I used to live in, not here. I used to live in it was in the same county. I live in a community, and at one point it was a 2,000 acre farm. Okay, on the Potomac River. Back in the day, they called it the $1,000 hunt club because that's what it cost you per year, and that was a lot of money back then. But anyways, they got divided up 10 to 60 acre lots. Okay, you had to have it. You got to have it. Only one house per lot though, so it's still pretty open. So we used to run dogs on there. Well, as people were buying and building houses and stuff like that, you still had all the woods and stuff, plenty of woods. So I would go through every single year before we'd always do our drives in December. I'd go through to every single house where we were going to go through. And I had a sheet of paper and I had signatures on it. And I would just say, hey, look, we're going to do some man drives. We're going to probably have a couple dogs. We're going to do some drives. Do you have a problem with it? Do you mind? Do we have permission to go across? Most of them, and I would tell them too, if you want deer meat, you let us know. We'll get you deer meat. 90% of them, we could hunt it. We always had one or two that were like, you know what? I'd rather you not come through my property. I'd say no problem. We'll go around it. And we never had any issues at all. Never had any issues. So, like you said, I think if you just reach out and talk to people, it's fine. But unfortunately, it's just not like that.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
The guys hunting around you that you're saying that you have some conflict with.
Yeah.
If you guys talked and they said, hey, what's your property tax? Can we pay it for you?
Yeah.
Can we help you pay the property tax? How about we help you maintain the property? You got some roads in here. How about we patch these roads?
Yeah.
Was that something you think that would work?
It's just, I don't even have to have that. I mean, it's just, like I said, it's really just the, respect of like, hey, look, we're going to be running dogs on Saturday, just wanted to give you a heads up, man. If they, you can join us or you can, can we come on your property, yeah, I'll give you my number. Call me. That's it. That's all I want. It's just
to get to that
respect.
point, you got to talk to each other first to get to that point.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You got to have that conversation.
Yep.
And usually you can't have that conversation if you're screaming and yelling at each other.
Right.
That's why I said a glass of tea and a piece of pie. That works out a lot,
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's yeah, I'm all for that. I'm pretty easy to get along with, man. I mean, I don't, I'm pretty laid back, but it's like, it's just, unfortunately, it happens a lot around here, and it's like, that
right.
my buddies, he's tried to talk to them, and but they're, I just think they're kind of a rogue hunting club where they're just like, they don't care.
It sounds like maybe they are, but
and they're not all like, all hunt clubs aren't like that. It's just,
we're out of time today, man. I'm gonna have to call it. I got another appointment.
Okay.
I'm a little concerned with the sound not being in my headphones like it's supposed to be. We may have wasted 30 minutes. If we have, we'll have to do it again. Either way, we'll have to do it again. How about that?
Yeah, sounds good, man. No, I appreciate
you. Get us a glass of tea and a piece of pie, and we'll sit here and talk and eat together.
Yeah, I appreciate you listening, man. Like I said, it's it's good. I mean, it's good to have communication like that.
It's all about communication.
Yeah.
It's all about communication. You can't. I'm going to tell you some key tenets. Number one, I told you that if you turn your dog out once and it gets on your neighbor's property, if you turn every time you turn it out, it's running across your neighbor's property causing problem. That's a problem. Shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Also, rational, reasonable people can solve their problems.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
do we need somebody else to get involved to solve a problem? If me and you got a problem and we can't solve it ourselves,
Yeah.
if we're rational and reasonable, why can't we? You know?
Well, I think unfortunately that's why it gets regulated because people can't.
We learned everything we need to know in kindergarten.
What's
Keep your
that?
hands and feet to yourself.
Yep.
Respect your neighbor. Right?
Yeah. I don't think they teach that anymore.
Don't take things that ain't yours.
Right.
We learned that in kindergarten, right? I mean, we
You and
literally
I
learned
did.
everything in kindergarten we need to be successful.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So what's your parting statement? Tell me what you want us to know, and then I got to get out of here.
Okay. I think the parting statement is just that, I think that a lot of hunt clubs just need to address the trespassing issue and make sure that they're looking at their own the people in their clubs and make sure that they are given that there's landowner respect, that the adjacent landowners, that just like you said, that if they go and talk to them or vice versa, and just the respect and just the and address the trespassing issue. That's really the biggest thing. I mean, that's my whole thing is the trespassing. So
I'm going to say one thing.
Yep.
You said you've got your driveway posted. You got a no trespassing sign on your driveway.
Yep.
Law-abiding person's not going to drive up there to talk to you. Is your phone number out there?
There's guys there that have my phone number. They know. Yeah.
If I was to go there, I wouldn't know.
Right. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. But
so my point is you're saying you'd like for them to come talk to you. Got to make yourself a little bit available.
Yeah, but I mean, even if it's a driveway. I mean, most places, I always pulled up into people's house and stuff. And if you're pulling up somebody's house, most people don't have an issue with that. And you say, "Hey, how you doing?" Look, you introduce yourself. I mean,
are you talking about reasonable people?
Well, yeah, but I mean, unfortunately, you have to put the trespassing sign up so that they don't come into your driveway. That's according to what the sheriff had told us. So it's kind of
that's true. That is true. I mean, if you don't want to, but the thing is that trespassing sign tells me that I'm not supposed to go up there.
Right. No,
I got your phone number. If I got your phone number, I could call you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go by Dickie or Rick, Richard, or what do you go by?
My first name's, I go by Matt. That's my middle name, but I go by Matt.
You go by Matt?
Yes, sir.
So, hey, Matt, what's up, man? How you doing? I'm out here. I need to come talk to you. Can I come up to the house?
Yep.
And then the trespassing sign's null and void because you gave me permission.
Right. That's right.
At least for that one trip. It's not permanently revoked, but
right.
People can't come talk to you if they can't get to you.
Right.
I'm just pointing that out.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's a kind of a double-edged sword though, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
So,
but find out who it is that's running these dogs near you. Find out who they are.
Yep.
I know how I would have the conversation, but I mean that's up to you.
Yeah.
I'd probably be up there like with my handheld radio in my hand, talking about, "Look here, man. What channel y'all on? I got a stand right back here, about 400 yards back here in these woods where the deer like to cross. What channel y'all on? And when I shoot this deer, you gonna come help me drag it out?"
Right. Yep.
I went to a hunt with a hunting club up near the Virginia line this past season,
mm-hmm.
and it was a veterans hunt. We had 9 bucks down before lunch.
Mm-hmm.
The club members cleaned all the deer, cut the deer up, put it in the veterans coolers. I'm a veteran too, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I was invited to go as a hunter, but I wound up going as a guide.
Okay.
I'm a disabled vet, but I'm not as disabled as some of those guys were.
Right.
So I worked as a guide. I'm a licensed guide, so I worked as a guide. But they invited the guys. They paid for all the food. They paid for everything.
Nice.
They cleaned their deer. The guys that wanted to have their deer mounted, they caped them out so they could take them and have them mounted. I mean, it was neighbors helping neighbors. It was
Sounds like a great time.
It was giving back to the community.
What county was it? I'm just curious.
Haswell County.
Oh, okay. I funded. That's you're out. You're a little bit more west, I think. I funded down in Brunswick, which is on the North Carolina border. Yeah, but that's
There's
good.
a Brunswick County in North Carolina too.
Is there?
Yeah, it's down near South Carolina.
Yeah, it's on the south side. Yeah. No, that's great.
Well, I got to get out of here, and I really hope that this audio worked. I don't have no idea what's going on here.
Right.
But either way, we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, sounds good. Let me know.
All right. Have a good one. Good talking with you.
Hey, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.